always trying to make sure that we are setting new goals for ourselves. Something that we do with our patients at Changes, every single Monday, we set for them new just for today's and new goals for the week. We tell them, okay, do you want to do something with regards to your body, in terms of exercise, in terms of your step work, in terms of what are your goals for the week, short-term goals. This is what we talk about. Now, I thought it was a good idea to talk about it for empowering families and also make some goals as a family with your loved ones in recovery. So, setting meaningful goals can play a pivotal role in fostering positive change. Today, we'll explore the concept of dreams, ambitions, talents, and skills, and delve into the importance of setting SMART goals. Let's embark on this journey together with the shared goal of building a supportive and nurturing environment for our loved ones. The power to transform lives begins with understanding, communication, and purposeful goal setting. So before I like to start, let me just read a cute little story, and then it'll kind of set the tone for the rest of the presentation. So the story is called The Wood Choppers Contest. Once upon a time, there were two men in a wood chopping contest. They were tasked to chopping down as many trees in the forest as they could from sun up to sundown. The winner would be rewarded with both fame and fortune. From morning till noon, both men steadily chopped and chopped. By noon, they were neck and neck, but the one man took a break and stopped chopping. The other man saw this and thought to himself, the lazy fool, he's probably taking a break for lunch. He's given me a chance to get ahead of him, and I will without doubt win this contest. A while later, the man got back to work. As the day continued, he chopped more trees than his hard-working and hungry competitor, and by mid-afternoon, he had taken the clear lead. When sundown came, the man who had taken a break at noon had chopped the most, twice as many trees as the man who was drenched in sweat, hungry, and exhausted. How did he beat me? He asked, puzzled. You were lazier than I and even took a break for lunch. The woodchopper said, said the other man, I did take a break, but during that break, I sharpened my axe. The moral of the story is taking time to sharpen your axe is worth many, many hours of hard toil. So like I said, guys, this meeting was what I wanted to talk about, was taking the time to sharpen your axe and sharpening your weapon, family support being a weapon in this case. Therefore, we need to set SMART goals so that we can obviously attain this throughout the rest of the year to come. So here we have something called the biopsychosocial model of mental health, right? So in each of in this departments, we need to set specific goals. So you can set goals for your body, you can set goals for your relationships, and you can also set goals for yourself. For example, your mental health can be affected in so many different factors, such as physical health, disabilities, neurochemistry, even your immune system. For example, making a goal to go to your doctor on a regular basis, to take your vitamin B and taking an immune system booster so that you don't get sick during flu season. Another aspect of it is the social aspect of it. We talk about making and breaking relationships. Some of us are in toxic relationships and other relationships are healthy. We need to set goals for how we're going to sort that out. We also talk about personal psychological goals in terms of our beliefs, our behaviors, our personality. We all know our personality. Some of us, we need to work on stuff. We need to put goals and put timelines on those things. Let's talk a little bit now about dreams and aspiration, because this ultimately is the whole point of doing these goals, is because we want to attain a dream. We all need to have a dream because dreaming is free, right? So a dream is defined as an aspiration or desire for the future. For example, traveling the world, starting a new business, pursuing higher education. Ambitions are determinations and drives to achieve specific goals. Examples, becoming a successful professional, achieving financial stability. Talents and skills. Talents and skills are natural abilities learned capabilities. For example, an artist has talent, communication skills, and technical skills. So when we talk about setting a goal, we talk about it being a SMART goal. And this is something you may have heard your loved ones say going through recovery, because we make sure that they have SMART goals. A SMART goal is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable and relevant, as well as time-bound, time-specific rather. So in each goal that you set, it needs to have met these criteria. Specific being in what department, can it be measured? Is it actually realistic? Is it relevant to what we want to do? And can we do it in the given time? Importance of setting goals in the recovery process for the family. Okay, so clarity and direction. Why do we need to set goals? What is important to set goals for the family? It offers us a chance to get clarity and direction. Goals provide a clear sense of direction and purpose for the family. They help outline where the family wants to go and what they hope to achieve during the recovery journey. You know, the truth be said, when your loved one has gone is walking the path of recovery, your family will not be the same again. We need to come to terms with that. There's change, and we always are on the lookout for, has this person relapsed? Can we drink in front of them? All these questions. So what's really important is that we set a very good foundation for the family ahead. Dom, I don't know if you want to just add a little bit on this in terms of the importance of it.
Yeah, so I think for me, it's really important for families to, make sure that there's really a good stance of like solid goals. I know that when we're sort of looking at goals, it's kind of like, what do you as a family want to achieve? What do you want, your loved one to meet when they come home? Or, maybe you want to set goals in terms of boundaries, because I think that's really, really important, so that, there's a structure and a way forward in terms of what you guys want to achieve as a family. And I think that's really, really important. And that often goes with very clear communication, so that, you can set those goals and everyone is kind of I like to say, on the same page. So I think goal setting is very important, especially when your loved one comes home. You need to kind of know what you want to achieve in yourself, and what, sort of boundaries are you willing to put in place.
Absolutely, Dom. It's kind of like building a house that has been washed away by the water. We need to make sure that we set the new foundations right this time. So why we do this is because it brings clarity and direction, as well as empowerment. Setting goals empowers the family members by giving them a sense of control over their own actions and reactions. It allows them to actively contribute to the healing process rather than feeling helpless. So it's not just that you as mom or dad are in putting these goals on the table. It's the whole family, so that they also feel like they are involved in it, to kind of get their opinion on it, to get their reactions on it. It helps them be empowered to say that as a unit, as a family, we are moving together. We are not just two parents dragging our child. We're not just one loved one dragging the other loved one across the line. We as a unit. So as empowerment goes, this is one of the most crucial things to setting goals. Focus on positivities. Goals shift the focus from negative aspects of addiction to positive, constructive actions. This redirection helps foster a more optimistic and hopeful atmosphere within the family, right? So this one is kind of shifting in the fact that, yes, we know that you did drugs. Yes, we know that you're an alcoholic. You know that you're in recovery. But at the same time, we also know that you're a bright and intelligent person who has a lot to offer the world. How do we use that, as well as your past and your history, to focus on the more positive side of it? Promoting unity. Like I was saying before, shared goals create a sense of unity among family members. Working towards a common goal objective encourages open communication, cooperation, and shared commitment. For example, in this one, if you know that I'm a loved one in addiction, or I'm walking the path of recovery, but I know that mom is trying to get a promotion at work. What am I actively doing as a loved one? Well, what I can do is I can spend some time with her, see how she's feeling, to make 1-hour check-ins with her. Giving them that is promoting unity. It's promoting the fact that it's not just a helicopter kind of parenting or a helicopter kind of top down. It's more as a unit, we are moving as a family. The nice thing about this is that we need to be measurable. Goals provide measurable benchmarks to track progress. Celebrating small victories along the way helps reinforce the family's commitment and motivates everyone. This can be like, okay, so if we've, as a family, set aside 1 hour each day for family time, and this has no TV, no nothing, no phones, nothing, you're just going to talk. And if we can do that as a family consecutively every single day for a month, then I think as a family, we deserve to go on a little holiday or go out to a restaurant to eat or to celebrate. Because as a unit, we need to celebrate this. We don't just celebrate this when dad gets a promotion, or your partner gets the promotion that they want, or stuff is going well. We do this on a regular basis so that we touch bases on our family members as a unit. The importance of setting goals in recovery with coping mechanisms. Goals serve as coping mechanisms, like Dom was saying, boundaries as well, but goals serve as a coping mechanism during challenging times. When faced with difficulties, having established goals can guide the family in making decisions that align with their overarching objectives. So, for example, if there was damage done during active use, having goals now will probably mean patching up or repairing some of the holes that we created during active. Okay, so for example, let's go seriously, like as a family, we hurt some people. Maybe the relationship between brother and sister are not good. We know that we've called people names, we've said things that we didn't really mean, but now we need to actually use this as a coping mechanism to patch it up. Maybe instead of 1 hour, we need to spend 2 hours. That's how goals work if we need to use that as a coping mechanism. We also talk about it bringing structure and routine into our lives, which I'm sure you know your loved one, when they come into rehab, all we always talk about is routine and structure. For example, dusting the bed, for example, eating on a certain time, going to sleep on a certain time. When we talk about active addiction and when we talk about recovery, synonymously, we talk about structure and routine. Setting goals introduces structure and routine into the family dynamic. This can be particularly helpful in creating a stable and supportive environment for the individual in recovery. Building resilience, meaning the ability to bounce back, right? So yes, the family has had an earthquake taken to the nuclear to say that now I found out my child is using substances, or my loved ones is using substances. What do we do now? The process of setting and achieving goals builds the resilience within the family. It teaches them to adapt to challenges, learn from setbacks, and continue moving forward with a sense of determination. So like I said, like we found out that our brother or our husband or our wife is an alcoholic. What do? We don't just say, yes, they're an alcoholic and leave it. As a family, are we piecing the puzzle together to see where we can strengthen it? We also talk about enhancing communication. Oh, sorry, Dom. I'm seeing that you're saying pull the screen down.
Yeah, we can only see the top half of your face.
Oh, pull the
Yeah.
Oh, is that better?
No, you're going up the other way. There we
Better?
go. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Now I can't see the little screen behind me. Okay. Enhanced communication. Goal setting promotes healthy communication patterns. Discussing and planning goals requires open and honest dialogue, fostering a deeper understanding of each family member. Let's just say I had mommy issues or daddy issues or some issues that are kind of plaguing our relationship. I feel like my mom doesn't listen to me, or I feel like my partner doesn't listen to me. Or maybe they always feel like they're talking above me, and I'm feeling quite insecure or quite emotional about it. Putting this on paper or putting this in terms of a goal that we can set in terms of, are we going to go to therapy as a family? Are we going to go to couples therapy? What can we do to make sure that goals are being set? For example, every single month, we need to have attended 4 counseling sessions for couples counseling. That is setting goals to enhance communication. Also talking about the long-term vision. As a family, we're not just eating and doing these mundane tasks just from, just for the short term. We also have to have a long-term vision. What do we want for our legacy? Our legacy being our kids, our families, and what do we want for that, or for even ourselves? For example, establishing goals encourages families to consider the long-term vision for their lives beyond immediate challenges of addiction. It helps them envision a future full of positive change and shared accomplishments. So one may get this confused with, maybe at some stage I will be able to share a beer with my son. That is definitely not what I'm saying here, right? What I'm saying here is a vision as maybe as one day we can have a family holiday, you know, that is magical to us in that moment, because right now our family is so dispersed everywhere. People are fighting, we have a lot of sibling rivalry, etc., etc. Having a long-term vision in that sense, I wish that one day my family could just have a nice meal together. That's what we talk about, having a long-term vision. Dom, I don't know if you want to add anything on that.
I think you've pretty much covered everything, but I also think, like, you know, the family needs to be very careful when you are setting goals. Don't set your expectations too high. I think that's always really, really important, because we always say that expectations are premeditated resentments. And if you set the bar too high, you're going to end up disappointed. So you want to try and make sure that, like Keegan was saying in the beginning, that the goals are realistic, and don't set them too high. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment, and you know, it might not work the way that you'd like to. So I think that's really important. And again, communication is so important. It has to be clear, has to be concise, not confrontational. Otherwise, everyone is going to just be angry with each other and nothing is going to get resolved.
Absolutely, Dom. Okay, example of bad goals, right? We have to know what a bad goal is to know what a good goal is, right? So we talk about vague goals, like general, improve health, improve the family. It's so vague that anything will be it. So we need to become specific. What is an unrealistic goal? I want to become a millionaire. I want my family to just magically just get together. We talk about unmeasurable goals. I want to be happier. There's no unit of measurement there. And we also talk about unspecific goals, just to get better. You can see in the slide, it's just basic stuff is making it to the point where you will never ever be able to measure it or be able to. I think there's some background noise there, Dom.
Yeah, someone was unmuted, but I can't seem to mute them, but it looks like they've been muted.
Okay, perfect. So example of good goals. Let's talk about your body, right? Specific goals for your body. And remember, we talked about goals as a family, but you are a member in this family. So what I'm saying here is that you as a member need to take care of yourself so that as a unit, you guys are moving together. Like, think of yourself as one of the tires in this moving car, right? You need to take care of what you can. This, in terms of your body, needs to be specific. Attend doctor's appointment regularly. Take prescribed medications and ensure proper sleep hygiene. For example, I know that I need to go to see my doctor about my depression medication. I need to go and make sure that when you do get that medication, that I'm taking it accordingly. I need to make sure that I'm sleeping properly. My doctor has advised me to make sure that I exercise. I'm doing that, making sure that I don't use my phone before I go to sleep, practicing sleep hygiene. Even if my loved ones are not doing that, I'm doing that for myself because it's helping me as a unit, okay? Measurable, drink at least 8 glasses of water daily. That is something measurable because I know if I drink 7, I'm under the limit. If I drink 9, I'm over. So that's a good thing. Having that as a daily basis or daily goal is really important. Achievable. Engage in regular physical activities for 30 minutes 3 times a week. So there again, right, that is achievable because it's got specifics in it. 30 minutes 3 times a week. Can I do that? Yes. Does it sound realistic? Yes, I can do that. Relevant. Maintaining a balanced diet and practicing mindfulness during meals. It's relevant to this car moving in a direction. That's why I'm saying having a goal for your family is very important because it's relevant. What am I doing? I'm eating healthy to be a better person so that I can be a better family member to my loved one. So it's relevant. So we're breaking this whole big goal into this little, small, intricate parts. And time bound, achieving a consistent sleep schedule within the next 4 weeks. In this week, in this month, I need to make sure that for every single night that I sleep, I make sure that I don't use my phone 1 hour before. So the blue light won't affect my eyes. So now I know that over a week, over 4 weeks that I've made sure that I've made significant progress. What about relationships, right? When we talk about relationships, remember, you as a person in this family have relationships outside this family. Work, be it your external family, be it your friends and your system. So sometimes this involves relationships that we need to cut out, maybe call them toxic relationships, right? So specific, nurture healthy relationships, identify and distance from toxic relationships or friendships, right? Measurable, attend social events at least twice a month. We need to make sure that sometimes we don't just isolate ourselves from our family members, or we don't just spend too much of time with our family members. We need to make sure that we're going out and we are kind of socializing with other individuals, right? So like I said, nurture healthy relationships. So if you have a healthy relationship with your partner, or you have a healthy relationship with your parents or your children, that needs to be nurtured. For example, what I mean by nurtured is it needs to be watched on a daily basis. For example, like I said, setting aside 1 hour of time, 1 hour of your day to make sure that this family relationships are being seen as important. Okay. Measurable, like I said, attending social events at least twice a month. Achievable, establish boundaries at work to maintain a healthy work-life balance. This is important. For example, if we are sitting as a family, we can't have our phones with us because somebody from work may contact us and take our mind completely off what we're supposed to do, right? Is that achievable? Yes, I can definitely put my phone in the other room. I can definitely do that. Is it relevant? Cultivate a positive romantic relationship, right? In terms of, is it relevant in terms of where we're going? And like I was saying, each member needs to kind of debrief with their individual social circles so that they can make sure that they are the best version of themselves in there. Time bound, finding a supportive work environment within the next 3 months, right? Maybe you're struggling to look for a job and this is kind of distracting you away from your family. You feel like maybe your family don't take you seriously or anything like that. Making an effort in there to kind of change your environment within the next 3 months is time specific. So like we say, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time specific. Now we go on to like more on the personal side. This is your personal psychology, we like to call it. Specific examples of this would be replacing negative habits with positive ones, such as daily meditation. Measurable, engage in me time for at least 30 minutes a day. Achievable, develop new hobbies or revisit a forgotten talent. Relevant, set career goals and create a plan for personal development. Time bound, complete a relevant online course within the next 2 months. So this is personal goals, and this is what we talk about in the rehab when we are setting goals. What are the personal goals that you can do for yourself that don't require any money, any people? Just by you setting 30 minutes aside is an example of a good goal for your mental well-being. Okay, Dom, I don't know if you just want to add on to any of that before I move on.
No, I think you've covered all of that.
Okay, perfect. Now we go to actually, how do we set these goals? So we know why it's important to set these goals for our family, but now how do we actually go about doing it? Okay, number 1, hold a family meeting. Start by gathering the family for a meeting. Make it a positive and collaborative atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. What this means is not bringing any kind of hostility in there. We're not demanding that you come into this. We would just like to talk as a family. Can we do that? Can we put the TV off for a couple hours? Can we do that? Okay, so let's start by holding a family meeting. Now what we would do as reflecting on the past year, or in this case, the past 6 months, right? What have we achieved in that past 6 months? Discuss the highlights and challenges of the past year. For example, challenges could be financial challenges, death in the family, divorce. It could be anything that happened in the last year that you found to be challenging. What worked well and what didn't work well? What could be improved? This reflection can help guide your goal-setting process. Okay, we tried to set aside family time, but we just never got around to it. What didn't work? What can we do to enforce this, to make sure that family time is now number 1 priority? We also talk about identifying core values. Define the core values that are important to your family. These might include things like communication, respect, kindness, or education. Aligning your goals with these values will make them more meaningful. For example, there should be a way that maybe you don't say certain words to your family members, and you realize as time is going, you're using more kind of hurtful words with your family, and you've picked up on it. So, and as a core identity as your family, like I said before, the whole drug addiction and everything came across the table, you were a person that respected communication. Like, we don't swear at each other, we don't use hurtful kind of terminology like that. So if you identify that, then you need to make sure that you put that down as a goal. Brainstorming goals, right? Encourage every family member to share their ideas for goals. These can be relevant to various aspects of family life, such as relationships, health, education, or leisure. Write down all of your suggestions without judgment. So this is very important, especially having a loved one who is in recovery, making them feel heard, to say, you know what, hey, even though I am a drug addict or I am an alcoholic, my family still actually wants my opinion on something. Okay, let me actually put pen to paper and say, okay, in the next month, I want to actually sleep better. I want to make sure that I'm not using any vulgar languages or any kind of words that maybe my family wouldn't take kindly to, or I want to make some definitely kind of changes on going out more often as a family. That's brainstorming. We may not be able to go out as often as I like as a family, but maybe we can try something else. Brainstorming it. Right? And then lastly, we talk about categorizing goals. Once you have a list of ideas, categorize them into short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals can be achieved within the next year, while long-term goals may take more time. Prioritizing goals. Prioritizing goals based on the importance and the feasibility. Consider which goals will have the most significant positive impact on the family's well-being, and make sure that the goals that you set are SMART. We talked about this: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This makes them clearer and more actionable. For example, instead of a vague goal like being healthier, a SMART goal could be exercise as a family for 30 minutes 3 times a week. Now that's specific. We know as a family why we're doing this, because we know, yes, we want to get healthier physically, but we actually want to get stronger as a bond, as a family. If we're jogging as a couple, or we're jogging as a family, we know that we're spending family time with each other. Create an action plan. Break down each goal into specific actionable steps, identify what needs to be done, who's responsible for each task, and set deadlines. This will make the goals more manageable and increase the likelihood of success, right? So we have an action plan. We don't have a plan of action to just do anything haphazardly. We make sure that we have an action plan of how to execute this and who is responsible for what. For example, the mom can be responsible for leading the family group. That's calling everybody to the family room and saying, okay, guys, let's have this 1 hour. And dad could be in charge of spending time jogging or exercising. That's kind of leaders and having action plans that can also help there. Reviewing and adjusting. Obviously, no one is going to get this right the first time. Life is dynamic and circumstances may change, so be flexible and adapt to your goals accordingly. Celebrate achievements. Like I was saying, it's not about, it's a long run. Celebrating small victories can be very important. For example, celebrate your family's achievement, whether it be big or small. Recognizing and celebrating success will motivate everyone to continue working towards that family goal. All right, Dom, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to what I was saying based on that.
Sorry, I forgot I was on mute. I think from my side, like we've mentioned, goals are so important. And I know that with your loved ones in treatment, what we usually do is we sit down before they leave and do like a sustainable recovery plan with them, where we actually set goals and objectives we help sit with them and help them to set goals and objectives in terms of what they want to achieve, say in the first month they're out of treatment. It's the same, like Keegan says, every week they've got to set themselves weekly goals so that they can obviously have something to work towards during that week. But the thing is, the most important thing is, if you're not really wanting, we often say don't future trip. So don't look like way far into the future, but kind of like what is it that you as a family and what your loved ones can achieve in a certain space of time, you know. So and again, it goes down to being able to communicate well with each other, you know, sit down and discuss what do you as a family want to achieve and work on it from there. And like it's like Keegan says, it's always adjustable. It can change anytime, anywhere. If something's not working, try something else. It's just super, super important.
And just to go back onto that analogy of, as a family, we are a car, but as an individual, we are a tire, and making sure that we are taking care of ourselves, you know, and not slowing down the kind of family, you know, as a unit. It may seem like, you know, when a loved one is in addiction, that they are always going to be a flat tire that's going to slow the family down, and everyone gets frustrated and everyone has feels some sort of way about that. But remembering that they are patching themselves up, they are going for their meetings, they are calling their sponsors. At some point, they're going to just be just as, you know, useful in the family car as you are. So are you doing your very best to make sure that you are ticking all the boxes in terms of going to your doctor, going to your psychiatrist, going to your psychologist? Are you making sure that you're taking your mental health into consideration? I'm not sure, Dom, if there's any questions or anything from the chat.
Nothing's come up yet. So yeah, I think if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. And if you want to maybe share on your experience or past experiences or current experiences or whichever experiences, you're welcome to unmute yourselves and share with us.
You know, Keegan referenced discuss. And I think that's something that families find incredibly difficult, particularly when they've just come into treatment, early recovery. We feel like we can't really discuss because we're still in that place where we want to tell them what to do, and we don't trust, and we almost want to take over. So it's such an important issue, but we've also got to be very mindful of what our goals are in relation to our relationship with our loved one. You know, we speak often about codependency and we talk about control and letting go. And this is a perfect opportunity to practice all those skills because it is about a discussion. It is about sitting down as a family. And I think the addict has the goals, the family needs to have their goals. Recovery, sobriety can be one of the goals. That's the goals they're learning with us in treatment. So I think the importance for me is family communication, talking it through, setting those realistic goals. But the key factor, and I'm not sure which one, I think, Dom, you might have said it. For me, this is key, not have unrealistic expectations. Like put those goals down, talk about them, but keep a check, like inner check on why are we doing this? You know, what's our intention? We always ask the addict population, what's your intention? What is your reason for doing a lot of these things, behaviors that we don't really approve of? But I think as family members, we need to ask ourselves, what's our intention? And most of us will say we want to keep them sober. And that's something we got to bring into check again. It's not our job to keep them sober. We can assist, but these goals are for the unity of the family as well as for the family recovery.
I think there is a question here from Louise. There's a small family celebration coming up. All attending know that a family member is struggling with alcohol. Making the party dry is just too obvious to the addict. He will react. Any advice, please?
You want to take this one, Cheryl?
Happily.
I think Cheryl's thinking the same thing I am.
Probably. I think, Louise, first things first is I would be talking to your loved one, asking him how he feels. Particularly depending on where exactly he's at in his recovery. Something I think we all need to be aware of, when you ask your loved one, can you cope? They'll say, absolutely, it's my problem, not yours. You don't need to, lock it away, hide it, keep a sober house. But we're telling you that they're not being honest, because they want to be okay. They want the family to carry on, but you don't need to. Like, celebrations are going to change from now on. Celebrations with alcohol for addicts and alcoholics can't really happen. So my suggestion would be to discuss with your loved one. We're going to have a party. I'm okay. I would like to keep a sober one. Sometimes you can do it in the mornings. If you don't provide the alcohol, people are a little bit more aware nowadays. Things are expensive. A lot of people socialize with out alcohol. They don't provide the food. So it's about that open conversation. It's about discussions in the family. And a question maybe you also need to have had with them prior is, what are we telling everybody? It's your responsibility. Who are you telling? What are you telling them? Let's discuss that. Can be a goal. So that's my side, Dom. I don't know if you had anything extra you wanted to add.
So I think for me as well, I agree 100% with what Cheryl's saying, but I think for me as well, it's really important to, we try keep a sober home as much as possible in their early recovery. But again, it's, you don't want to tiptoe on eggshells around your loved one, because it is going to make them react, and it is going to make them feel like, why is everyone being so sensitive around me? So it is just really communication. How would you feel? We have a family function. We don't really want to hide it, but we don't want to make it obvious. Just it's about that open communication as well. And like Cheryl says, don't trust it when they say that we've got this, it's fine, because they generally don't. What I always suggest to my clients is, like, if you're going to a family function, there's going to be alcohol around, please speak with your sponsor before you go. Have an exit strategy. Just put some plans in place that if you are going to be in a situation where there is alcohol, then at least they've spoken to their sponsor and they've got a plan in place. That's their responsibility. It's not the family's responsibility to jump in and tiptoe on eggshells. And it's only going to make them more angry, or react even more. So it's just, again, it's that open communication. Like, we're having a wedding, it's going to be alcohol. Have you spoken to your sponsor? Are you comfortable coming with? Just kind of having that open-ended communication.
I feel like I also want to add on to that, Dom. Also, when you talk about an exit strategy, let's just say I decide not to go along to the wedding where there's going to be alcohol. What am I going to be doing in that time where my family is at the function? Am I going to be sitting and like wallowing about the circumstance, or am I going to go to a meeting? That you've also got to factor that into your recovery plan or your exit strategy. Okay, fine, I've made up my mind. I'm not going to go to this function because the risks outweigh the pros of doing that. So what am I going to be doing? And then you'll find this person sitting alone, lonely, not reaching out, isolating, crying, and going down that rabbit hole. Instead, going to a meeting to kind of talk about it over there.
There's another question from Kurt. If your loved one is still early in recovery, how do you balance having time-bound goals with their JFTs or goals without going too far ahead in the future and adding pressure on the recovery?
Great question.
I think from my side, I always, especially when I'm going to go back to the sustainable recovery plans that I do with my clients. I always tell them initially in early recovery, whatever goals you set or whatever objectives you have for those goals, week by week, keep it as simple as possible. I know we teach them to live a just for today program. but it's really, really important that in early recovery, they just set stuff for them for the week. So like, for example, if your loved one is in a halfway house, they have to do like a weekly planner that has to get approved by the house manager. And if they want to do something that's not on that planner, then it's not allowed. So it just helps create a bit of structure, and without future tripping and going like too far down the line. You start off week by week, and then eventually, gradually, as the recovery goes and they get a little bit stronger, you move it to every second week, then maybe to every month. So I always teach them week by week initially, and then they can always reassess as they go, because like you say, they can't sit and set a goal leaving treatment that I'm going to be clean and sober for a year. It's very unrealistic. They could leave treatment and 2 days later be using. So, it's very short time goals that I like them to set.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dom. It's about learning to live just for today, making plans, but not planning outcomes. So, in the halfway houses and my clients, I ask them, like, recovery focus, how many meetings are you going to attend? When are you going to speak to your sponsor? And those are daily and weekly. The other longer term goals, work, looking for work, things like that, I think become a little bit different, but I still like to work the 1 day, 1 week at a time.
Louise has asked again, what's the difference between being normal, no eggshells, and enabling? Re the family celebration. I think that's a very good one as well.
Okay, so I think the being normal you did put in inverted commas. I joke with my clients and I say to them, normal is a setting on a washing machine. It doesn't really exist. So I think it's about what's appropriate for the family and for the recovering addict. And I also think it's about how you feel. If they're feeling strong, or you're feeling strong, then setting those limits and goals and boundaries are a little bit easier. Something to look at is, I think if this becomes very tedious and painful, then one has to look at the condition of that loved one's recovery, because we should never really be treading on eggshells. If they're still angry and still, aggressive to you, then there's something else that we've got to look at. But generally speaking, when you set healthy goals for them, with them, and if we do it, they take it. There's a joke around the rehabs when we do the change of objectives, and that's in all phases: inpatient, secondary, tertiary, outpatient, and they compare their JFTs. They get really angry with us, really angry, because they know that's what they've got to work on for that week. But it's okay. We give them very, very honest, direct JFTs because we don't pussyfoot around. And I think the sooner the family can stop the eggshells, doing dances around them, wanting to protect them or protect their recovery, like, I think we're doing too much work.
Should a family celebrate milestones in their loved one's sobriety? I don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be honest. I know that, your loved ones they have what you call birthday shares within the fellowship and within the meetings, where, say, for example, your loved one makes it to 1 year, then they'll go and share their story with other addicts and alcoholics. And usually for those birthday shares, families are welcome to join. There's usually cake involved. It's quite a celebration. And I think, even as a family, maybe if you want to celebrate it, and if your loved one is okay to maybe celebrate it, just something simple, go for a dinner, or have a nice dinner at home, nothing too fancy, I don't think there's an issue celebrating. It also just with you celebrating with your loved one just shows a bit of support as well from your side. Especially when you go with them to their shares at the meetings, you know, it just shows them that you are supportive and that you are, you know, sort of backing them up. But it doesn't have to be this extravagant, you know, party. So try and keep it personal, try and keep it simple. But I think it does show the support from the family side as well, that you're proud of them and you think that they've done well.
And again, that word discussion comes in for me, because I do think it's important, especially if they're coming up to like a landmark of 60 days or 90 days or 364 days, 5 days. Ask them, you know, are you comfortable for me to come to a meeting? I would love to go to a meeting. How do you celebrate? What do you need from us? We'd love to take you for a dinner, but please don't do what one of my clients did. Their daughter got to 12 months and they went out for dinner and the whole family got drunk. Whole family. And my client was sitting there twiddling her thumbs, very uncomfortable, and phoned me from the restaurant and said, you know, how can they do this? And I said, well, you need to have that conversation with them tomorrow morning. So, you know, celebration, ask them, what are you comfortable with? Sometimes it might just be getting a bunch of flowers or a ice cream and sitting at home, but ask them what their needs are too. And I do think like landmarks are so important for them and they need to be celebrated because it's a huge achievement. Abstinence from drugs and alcohol for a period of time, for most addicts, they couldn't do 24 hours. Now they're doing 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, but don't go over the top.
Louise is asking, maybe the addict will see the normalcy of the celebration as non-supportive. I don't know, Cheryl, what's your take? I don't think they would.
I'm not sure either.
I think that would also, I don't think they would, but I think it would also, again, depend on the family dynamics, I would guess.
I agree.
And
the individual.
Yeah.
I have some of my clients who, from about 9 months, start saying, if I get to my 12 months, I want you to be there. Or you're not going to be invited. Please don't get upset. I need to do this for myself. Some people get invited to the first year and never get invited again. So it really depends on family dynamics, the individual, and how they feel about their recovery. I will say to my clients, they have to celebrate. They need to go to a meeting. They need to share the experience, strength, and hope. And if that's all they can do, that's a great celebration. But they do need to celebrate for themselves.
Okay, there's nothing else coming up in the chat box, and we've got about 2 minutes. Keegs, I don't know if you want to say anything else or.
No, I'm all good on my side.
Sorry, Louise, Riff is just.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm referring to the small family celebration, not the public milestone party.
That I think they would. I think some people could, but again, it depends on communication. It depends on what condition the relationship is at the moment. Is there dialogue happening? Is it a to and fro rather than a dictatorship? So yes, I do think that they can be upset, but you know, you've got to bear in mind what we put them through in treatment is we're very direct and very honest, and we expect the same from them. So I think the family should also be within reason expected to be honest, and they need to be honest back. Hi, Chantal.
When someone just comes out after the 21 days, how do you approach the idea of setting goals?
A tough one. Our hope would be that they've got some connection to some kind of a recovery process. And that would include the family goals. Because I think after 21 days, the family's still raw. It's very difficult to have these kind of conversations unless somebody's in a very strong recovery. So I think, ask the counselors in the conjoints. We have set the goals with them. So it is up to the family to start setting some very basic but realistic goals.